it just drives me knowing that we've kind of created this from nothing, and that I get to kind of go every month and work my butt off to try to do anything I can for people.
This is The Entrepreneur Way with Neil Ball. Unlocking the secrets of successful entrepreneurs 7 days a week. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter at Neil D. Ball. Napoleon Hill said the power of the mastermind is the driving force. To discover how you can unlock the potential in your business using the power of a mastermind, go to mastermindunlimited.com. And now, here is your host, Neil Ball.
Hello, it's Neil Ball here. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Entrepreneur Way. The Entrepreneur Way is about the entrepreneur's journey, the vision, the mindset, the commitment, the sacrifice, failures, and successes. I'm so excited to bring you our special guest today, Michael McManus. But before I introduce you to Michael, I have a quote for you. Ursula K. Le Guin, and I can't pronounce her surname, said the only questions that really matter are the ones you ask yourself. The Entrepreneur Way asks the questions so we all get the insight, inspiration and ideas to apply in our businesses. Michael, welcome to the show. Are you ready to share your version of the Entrepreneur Way with us?
I sure am.
Thank you for coming on the show, Michael. Michael McManus is an entrepreneur, artist, humanitarian and encourager. Having come from nothing and almost losing everything, Michael has become a driven entrepreneur, combining his love for people and creativity to create a successful and thriving photography business. His love for humanity and his familiarity with struggle has inspired him to start the non-profit organisation Gethrr. Gethrr is a community of people giving as little as $1 a month to help others in need. Michael, can you provide us with some more insights into your business and personal life to allow us to get to know more about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, sure. So I've been doing photography with my wife for the past 8 years. We also started a nonprofit a couple years ago, which you just spoke about. And we also have a photo booth company that we run, which is a little over 2 years old as well. And I'm a father. I have 2 8-year-old daughters. They're twins. And they keep me very, very busy.
Mm-hmm. And so where you make your money from photography and you say a photo booth, can you just talk a little bit more about what you're actually doing in terms of the photography and the photo booth? Yeah,
of course. So we're wedding photographers. So that's what we specialize in. We only shoot 30 weddings a year. And the photo booth company is a really good transition for us because most of our clients have photo booths at their wedding. So it was I guess an obvious next step for us to take that direction. And there we just provide, it's a really modern, fun photo booth experience instead of the old-fashioned kind which people are used to. It's open air, so there's no enclosure. We do social media sharing, texting from the booth, all that modern stuff. And it's just a ton of fun. And we also do, birthday parties, corporate events, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And what do you enjoy most about what you do?
I enjoy connecting with people the most, and to be able to do all of this with my wife. I think that's the most enjoyable part. I love creating images and telling stories and having the photo booths at events. I know it's always a lot of fun, so I just enjoy kind of seeing the people, have a great time, be silly, let their guard down, and I think ultimately everything just kind of comes back to being around people and connecting with them.
Mm-hmm. And what is it that drives you?
There's two things here. One is my family, my wife and kids, and the other is just helping people. Setting up our nonprofit and knowing that every month we can go out there and we can help someone. That it just drives me knowing that we've kind of created this from nothing, and that I get to kind of go every month and work my butt off to try to do anything I can for people.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a little bit more about your nonprofit, please?
Sure. So, Gethrr, it was started because of my personal journey. Before we even started our photography company, we had no money at all. We had twins that were just born, no savings. We were just in a bad situation. And when no one else was really there to help us out and we were struggling, my wife's parents, they gave what little they could and believed in us when no one else did. And they basically kind of enabled us to take the steps we needed to take to start our company and to try to, live this dream of ours. And it changed our life. So, Gethrr is my way of giving back and doing that for other people and getting other people involved. Like you mentioned in the beginning, it's, $1 a month is the first, membership option. And even my kids can do it. Even my kids give every month and even volunteer when, there's a possibility for that. And it's just, it's about just helping people. Mm-hmm. And that's really what we're trying to do, is just grow a community of people who give a little bit, but make a pretty big difference with the little that they do.
So when you say you help people, in what ways do you help them?
So what's unique about Gethrr is that we're not trying to solve a particular problem. So for example, hunger or, a lack of water or homelessness, for us, because it is just about helping people, we have our members actually help us find projects to help people. So the first project we did, for example, was to help a family build a wheelchair ramp for their house. They had a 4-year-old son who's disabled, wheelchair bound. They live in a 2-level home, split level, and just providing that simple way of getting in and out of the house really changed their daily life. We've worked with a community in Arizona, providing garden equipment because they had the largest fire and lost all their firemen tragically in that wildfire. And the community consisted of just elderly people. So they were gardening to grow food because they didn't have enough money to kind of get over what they've been dealing with. So, providing them with the equipment they needed to make that process easier was what we were able to do. So yeah, it varies. It's always very different. In 2 days, we're doing a project. We're working with the Tim Tebow Foundation to put on a prom for people with special needs, mm-hmm. to give them that experience, to be able to be kings and queens for a day, and doing anything like that, would fit perfectly with what we're doing.
Okay, thanks for sharing that with us. And how do you relax when you're not working in your business?
We travel. That's where we get to relax the most. We typically do one big trip a year and then other smaller trips local within the U.S. And also more personally, I love drawing, mm-hmm. believe it or not. For the past year, I've been doing chalkboard portraits, which our subjects interact with the drawings. And it's just like something silly and fun. And, I just love creating. So that's something I do to relax.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any entrepreneurial role models?
I don't.
Okay.
I respect a ton of entrepreneurs, and when I think of role model, I think of that's the person I looked up to as we were growing our business and kind of figuring our own way. But we didn't have that. That wasn't even on our radar. So we were just kind of in our own little world at that time. So I'd have to say no to that one.
Okay. Michael, can we just go back to the time before you were an entrepreneur? And can you talk about what difficulties you had to overcome when you started your business?
So the difficulties that we had were no money. We didn't have the proper equipment. We actually, for the first year, borrowed equipment from a friend. We didn't have any background in business, and we documented weddings. That was what we were doing, and we didn't even have experience doing that and didn't know the proper way to do it. So, I guess all around, we didn't have anything on our side. We just were passionate about the idea of giving it a go and being honest about it with all of our clients. And, it was pretty tough for sure.
So how did you get over the the lack of experience with people who are getting married, because it's one of those days where probably people don't want to find that they've made the wrong choice, isn't it? So how did you convince them? We
used a website called Craigslist, and used our personal network, letting people know that we were shooting weddings now. And I would literally show up at a Starbucks with like a portfolio of 6 pictures from weddings I didn't even attend, that I happened to see the bride outside or something. And I would just be very candid about it. And I'd say, my wife and I, we're new at this and really love photography and would love to, get the opportunity to tell someone's story. And we were so lucky to have really great clients that first year who just trusted us, and we're friends with most of them to this day, 8 years later.
Mm-hmm. That's quite a creative way of getting pictures, isn't it? It's sort of almost crashing someone else's wedding. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And it was unintentional. I didn't ever think I'd use the pictures, but I was like, hey, this is a portfolio piece. There you go. So bad.
And did you have any doubts that delayed you starting your business?
I mean, we definitely had our doubts, even for the first 3 or 4 years, but nothing delayed us because we had no choice. The crazy part is, when I tell people we struggled, didn't have any money, there's this kind of like, oh, okay, you didn't, it's hard to keep up with your bills. But it's like literally we had no money. I couldn't hold a job. I kept getting fired. We borrowed money just to buy food for our kids. It was, we were just in no position to let our own fears and doubts get in the way, and we just had to push forward.
Mm-hmm. And what mistakes did you make that slowed your journey?
I think it was the lack of knowledge and just direction in general of what we should be doing and how we should be going about things. So it took us a lot longer than most, I think, to get ourselves to the point where we actually created something that was successful and tangible.
And what are some of the things that you did before you started your business that would be helpful tips to some of the listeners who haven't yet taken the first step on the entrepreneur way?
So we didn't do anything that I think would be helpful besides not having any idea what we're getting ourselves in, and just starting, just being like, it doesn't matter. You'll learn as you go, and just go. You have to start. And I think that's probably one of the things I always tell people is, if you want to do something, just do it. Mm-hmm. Like you can prepare forever. You can wait for the perfect time, but it's never going to come. So I think us just saying, okay, this is our situation. We want to change it. So go.
I think that's pretty powerful advice, considering you said you had nothing to advise on. Just do it. I think that's the biggest hurdle a lot of people have when they start out, to actually do it. So that's excellent.
It's the hardest part of anything, like working out, if you think of that, or, anything you want to do to make a daily habit, for example. The hardest part is starting. Once you start, you gain momentum, and that's what drives you forward.
Yeah. Can we now talk about the entrepreneurial journey a little bit? Mm-hmm. Do you think culture is important from the beginning in a business?
I do. I think for us, being honest and upfront and sincere and true to who we were has always been incredibly important, and I think has helped us attract the right clients as well. So that's kind of where we're at with all that. Mm.
Knowing what you know now, is there anything that if you'd known it when you started out would have helped you to shortcut the learning curve?
I would say networking would have been the number one thing. It would have made a huge difference for us. At the time, the photography industry was still very closed, and everyone was in that scarcity mode and was afraid to, help each other because it'll ruin their business. But, I remember even reaching out to one of the best photographers in our area when we started, and I was like, hey, I'd love to, connect with you, talk to you. And he's like, yeah, I'll hang out with you. It costs $200 an hour. I was like, I just, how about I buy you a coffee? But I know I could have done a better job, but kind of learning everything at the same time was very difficult. But, I know in starting with our photo booth company and our nonprofit that just connecting with other people definitely would have made a huge difference for us.
Mm-hmm. And how do you network with people now?
So a lot of it is just, taking opportunities to do things outside of our comfort zone, going to conferences, looking for opportunities to help other people without expecting anything in return, and just kind of, pushing ourselves a little bit outside of our comfort zone just to, meet the different people, and, not with the direct intention of getting anything, like I said, but just trying to expand your network in general, and people will come out of that naturally and be there when you need them to provide what you need.
How does gut feeling influence your decisions in your business?
Well, I'm not sure where we'd be if we only went on my gut feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm really, really lucky to have my wife to balance that out, because I'm more of the dreamer, and if I'm feeling something, I'll pitch it to her, and she'll say that's insane because you need to think about these things. So we definitely balance each other out and get to a point where we can take chances and risks to move forward, but it's not completely insane.
Yeah. Life is made of constant change, whether we like it or not. In fact, some people say the only constant is change. Michael, how do you try to keep up with change?
I would say we just go one day at a time. I'm sure you can imagine the wedding industry changes really quickly. And, we've been doing this for 8 years, and we don't stress out about the big things, and we take little pivots when we need them to still stay true to who we are, but kind of make sure we're not missing the boat.
And what is your favorite book on entrepreneurialism, business, personal development, leadership, or motivation? And can you tell us why you have chosen it?
One of my favorite books is called The Power of Starting Something Stupid by Richie Norton. And it makes the case for starting your stupid ideas. And he shares a lot of stories like Jeff Bezos starting Amazon. And it's just one of those books that if you read it, you will take action. So just a warning to everyone. That's why I love it, is because it makes it so obvious that you need to do what you want to do and try.
Yeah. Everyone, when you have a busy life, listening to audiobooks is a great way to expand your knowledge in the time when you may be doing other things, such as driving or when you are at the gym. We have a special offer for you of a free audiobook of your choosing. To choose your free audiobook, go to www.freeaudiobookoffer.com. As long as you haven't already signed up, then you will qualify. Michael, what I'd like to do now is speculate a little bit about the future. What one thing would you do with your business if you knew that you could not fail?
There would be two things I would do. One would be to shoot less and charge more. We already shoot a small amount compared to the norm, which is 30 weddings a year. But to be able to shoot 10 weddings a year, I would love to have the balls to do that, knowing we couldn't fail. And then the other thing with our photo booth company would be to franchise and push it out there and get people to buy into that.
Yeah. What skill, if you were excellent at it, would help you the most to double your business?
Being greedy. That would be the thing that would help us the most. But we put a priority on just kind of enjoying our life and not being greedy, and giving what we can to others and helping others. And I think there's much more satisfaction in that in the long run than just trying to take as much money as possible. Because typically, at least in my experience, when you do that and that's what you're focused on, you're not focused on actually living your life. When you have kids too, that puts it into perspective, and you also are a model for them. So everything you do, say, and tell them has to align, and they're going to definitely pay attention. So we're very aware of that.
Mm-hmm. But do you not think if you could double your business, you'd be able to help more people?
See, that's why I started a nonprofit, to get other people to help. That's, it's not worth it for me to miss out time with my kids.
Yeah.
To miss out time traveling and exploring and trying new things. It's just not. I mean, my kids are already 8. You only get 18 summers with your kids, and then they're gone. And we only have 10 years left, so I'm not going to waste that time, chasing money.
You could delegate.
To an extent, yes. Photographing weddings is a tougher situation, but that's why we started the photo booth company, to hopefully grow that and delegate on that end.
Yeah. In 5 years from now, if a well-known business publication was publishing an article on your business after talking to your customers and suppliers, what would you like it to say?
I would like it to say that we're doing what we love and that we care about it, and that we always take care of our clients and we do right by them.
We are now at the part of the show where you share 3 golden nuggets with us. So, Michael, what is your favourite quote and how have you applied it?
I was thinking about this, and honestly, I didn't want to go and just pick a random quote and be like, hey, this is my favorite. So to be completely honest, I don't have one that sticks out that I've applied.
What is your best advice to other entrepreneurs?
My best advice would be to do what makes you happy. What's the point in being the best doing something you don't enjoy? Because it's just, you're wasting your life and you're not going to be fulfilled. So I think just doing what makes you happy, and if what you're doing for business isn't, what you love the most, you have to at least enjoy it, and just make sure you leave time for yourself to actually continue to do what you love outside of that.
Mm. And do you have any favorite online resources that you could share?
Yeah, one of my favorite new podcasts I love is called The Unmistakable Creative. You can go to unmistakablecreative.com, and it's just a fantastic podcast. It has a lot of smart, successful people, and it's always different, and there's always something to take away from the podcast. So that's my current favorite resource that's been helpful for us.
Everyone, if you didn't manage to get a note of Michael's favourite resource or his favourite book, you can find a link on Michael's show notes page. Just go to theentrepreneurway.com and search for Michael or Michael McManus in the search box. Michael, is there anything else that you'd like to add about your business?
No, not specifically. I mean, in thinking about Gethrr, our nonprofit, I would love people to just consider checking it out and seeing if it's something that they want to be part of, and help us find people to help, and just kind of make that effort to make doing good, being a part of their everyday life.
Thank you. Michael, thank you for coming on the show. It's been an honour having you on here whilst you share your story and telling us about your views on entrepreneurialism. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Neil.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Entrepreneur Way. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter @Neil D. Ball.